Many of the most influential people on earth have been in Davos this week for the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, known as the WEF. Many people roll their eyes at the very mention of the WEF and dismiss any critique of the organization's actions as being conspiracy theories. But it's not hard to see why the WEF is the subject of many conspiracy theories. When you research the organization, they sound like something out of a spy novel. The group was founded by Klaus Schwab back in 1971 with an agenda to influence world policies, world economic policies in particular. Powerful business leaders and political figures would come out to attend the annual meetings in Switzerland, and in the pre-internet days, the agenda of those meetings wasn't really known by many, so it was really open to a lot of speculation. Hell, Schwab even looks a little bit like a James Bond villain, and with a Swiss mountain lair, what else would people assume? He's this secretive man off in the mountains there talking to influential people. The thing is, nothing with the WEF is actually secret. Their agenda and guest list are as public as can be. Videos of speakers and their participation are easy to find all over the internet. Just because the organization is transparent, though, it doesn't mean it isn't dangerous. The WEF influences political and public figures, particularly the weak ones. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is a prime example. Trudeau's not exactly what one would label as a cerebral type of leader. He relies on a cult of personality and photo opportunities to maintain his electoral popularity rather than trying to develop any deep sort of policies. Trudeau's also driven by vanity, so he was rather tickled when he delivered a keynote address to the WEF in Davos in 2018. When he can follow a script, he can do quite well. That's what drama teachers do. Trudeau then consumed the WEF policies on the Great Reset, though, and regurgitated them in later interviews. Now, the Great Reset, like many other things related to the WEF, is often brushed off as being some sort of conspiracy theory as well. It's right there in the open like the other things on the WEF website for all to read, though. It's an odious plan to take advantage of world disasters, such as pandemics, in order to implement massive economic changes. Those changes invariably involve centralizing government and imposing socialism. The Great Reset wants to use disasters to implement policies that people would never vote for in a democracy. If the Great Reset was just a notion on a website, we could ignore it. But when we hear political leaders parroting it, as Justin Trudeau did, we have to start taking it seriously. And the WEF uses climate change as a potential disaster to justify extreme policies as well. Despite the world being in the midst of an energy crisis causing economic distress to billions, the World Economic Forum is solidly maintaining its stance on pushing for a transition from hydrocarbon fuel sources. In a speech to the gathering this year, just last week, Norwegian finance CEO Kirsten Brathen says energy transition will create energy shortages and inflationary pressures, but this pain is worth it. Yeah, that's what she said. The WEF and its adherents know their policies are going to cause human misery. But in their ideological bubbles, they feel it's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile price to pay. Of course, the elites themselves who were in Davos won't feel any of that pain. Indeed, many of them have actually prospered during the pandemic. It served them well. A posting on the WEF website showed a picture of empty roads during pandemic lockdowns and stated emissions fell during lockdowns. Let's keep it that way. Never mind the misery and economic damage of the pandemic. The WEF feels that pain is worth it, and they want to maintain it. And again, this agenda is no secret. It's hiding right in the open. Folks often attribute way more power to the WEF than it actually wields as well, though. Sure, they want to influence and control as many leaders as possible. They make no bones about that. It doesn't mean they're succeeding in every case, though, so we got to be careful there. Many people have attended WEF gatherings in Davos and have dismissed their agenda. Their minds aren't controlled through sitting through a week of presentations and shoulder rubbing with other elites. We see people labeling every politician they don't like as being some sort of patsy for the WEF. Hell, I've even been accused of it by some occasionally on social media, even though I've never even been to Switzerland. I hope to get there someday, not necessarily to a WEF function, though. The WEF does have influence, though, and many people in positions of power share the WEF agenda. The agenda right now will exacerbate the world energy crisis, and it's ignoring the building and pending world food crisis. As economies crumble and people starve, political instability will follow. And this is just the sort of environment the WEF wants to see in order to foster the policies they can't sell democratically. It's a sick agenda, and it will come with immeasurable human cost. If we allow it to happen, we can't pretend we didn't see it coming. The WEF has been saying it over and over again already. They want the world to freeze in the dark. Can't say I didn't warn you guys.